G'day, Bruce here, Barking Dog Bim, and welcome to another edition of Scripting Adventure. We are well into our series on creating a fully custom door in GDL for Archicad. In fact, we're nearing the end. Part of creating a usable door is, one, the 3D, of course, and we've covered that in the first 9 parts of this series. The second aspect is the 2D. Which, although not as flashy, is just as important as the 3D. If you don't get your door displaying correctly in plan across your various documentation sets, then you're just about wasting your time. You'd have to do all of these workarounds to get it looking the way you want it to look. So instead of doing that, you put it in your object. And we've just finished going over those aspects of creating your door in the recent episodes. Now we're going to add some 2D aids to make your door more usable. And this is the third aspect of creating an object, usability. These will be the selection hotspots, selection hotlines, and also dynamic hotspots. If you want your door or object to be used, then it needs to be easy and enjoyable to use, and therefore will get used. And this is the sort of stuff that will make that happen. If your object is too cumbersome to use, then it won't get used, no matter how good it might be. Let's just add in some additional aids for our floor plan, hotspots, hotlines, and a dynamic opening one. We'll do that. So have a think about what would be useful to the user for hotspots. You don't want too many, you don't want too few, you want the Goldilocks number of hotspots. Too many, it's just a mess. Too few, it's not usable. You can't select it. So I would suggest at a minimum, we need additional hotspots here and here, one on the end here, and one at the hinge point. We would also need hotlines on the door leaf and on the inside of the frame. Outside, it's the same. In this case, it's the same as the wall. What if we change the reveal? So we would need hotlines on the frame as well. All right, let's get cracking on that. And you can do this a variety of ways in regards to where you put it in your script. I'll just put it near the geometry it's serving. Got a number of default hotspots here. I'll get rid of this axes because it comes with its own hotspots. And I don't want to muddy the waters at the moment. So I'll save that. I've put in one hotspot. Right, so the automatic hotspots for the opening remain. There's no other automatic hotspots, which is good. That's fine. I know what I'm dealing with now. So place one on the left, one at the center, one on the right at the back, one on the left at the back. Good. And if I change these, is that what I want? If you want these hotspots to appear in the simplified version, if you want them to appear somewhere else, you need to put them in a subroutine that's going to be executed regardless of the detail level. So you may want to create another subroutine called hotspots. These are the hotspots, but it doesn't allow me to select by just hovering over the edge of the frame. And in my mind, that makes it more usable. When you're in the zone and you're operating fast, you don't want to have to try and find the hotspot because you often click on the wall. I want to just click here somewhere. So I'll have a hotline starting from there, going across to there. Now I get intelligent cursor feedback. Excellent. That's what I'm after. And one on the back. Good. Makes it a whole lot easier to select that door. Put one on the inside of the frame as well. Don't have to, but you often have to measure egress widths, don't you? So I should get a hotspot here and here now. There we are. Hotspots, the overlooked heroes of GDL. This is what makes your part more usable, more friendly to the user. Just simple things like just making it easier to select. It'll make a huge difference. All right, that's that. Now for my leaf, we'll employ a similar strategy as to the door swing. Door swing gets called regardless of whether it's a simple door or a full detail door. So logically, I could put my hotspots and my hotlines or my door leaf in the door swing subroutine, or I could create another subroutine specifically for that. This is when you need to think about, well, what is going to make sense for someone unfamiliar with this object coming to look at it, or if I have to edit it in 6 months' time, what's going to make the most sense to me? And don't get too hung up about whether you're going to make the right decision. You can always change it down the track. Just make sure you put some thought in up front. Now, when I'm scripting with the camera on and the lights on, it makes it a little bit harder to concentrate. You'll be able to concentrate a bit better without all the distractions. I think for simplicity's sake, I'll keep it in the door swing subroutine. Just put in a little comment to prompt me. I'll put in my angle editing hotspot here. So just after the transformation, that takes it to the corner here. Copy and paste my code out of another object that's working. No point reinventing the wheel. Check out video 35 for more information on dynamic hotspots. And then we just change the relevant parameters and variables to suit. The parameter I'll be changing is GSOpen2D. That's that parameter there. My center hotspot is going to be at 0 because I've already moved the cursor to that position. My base hotspot is going to be back here. So X will be minus underscore leaf width. Remembering I'm setting that value before I call this subroutine, and 0 in the Y. And then my moving hotspot, my X should be minus cos. So the same as this bad boy here. And my Y should be sine. You know, I am no smart person, so it usually takes me a little while, a few goes, to get everything sorted out. 253, uninitialized variable hand angle. So GSOpen2D, not hand angle. Check script, good. Oh, promising so far. What happens? Nice. Look at that. It's working. First try. Amazing. If we go to site setup plan, it's still working. Incredible. Now what I can do is I can add hotspots here and here with this one instead of hiding the base hotspot. So that's the flag to hide the base hotspot. If I get rid of the 128, it will show the base hotspot, which is there. And the center hotspot, I'm stuck with it. I'll add a hotspot 2 to be at 0, 0. I change it to floor plans. It's there, and I can get rid of these two. Because I've dealt with that in the door swing subroutine. Good. Just change these, double check, make sure it's still working, seeing as I've changed some logic. Yep, still working. Good. So good. The other thing I could add is when these frames project out, because they're wider underneath, I need to add some sort of selection capacity for that. I don't want to add hotspots, but what I could do is add hotlines to make them selectable by the user without cluttering the screen with additional dots. And what we've got here, we set our frame widths, if you recall, to be either that wide or that wide. This is where we test for whether we're drawing a dashed line or not. So we'll just put our hotlines in with this poly. It's a bit cumbersome because you've got to copy each coordinate line, because whereas a polyline will draw from point to point to point, a hotline is individual segments from here to here, and then from here to here, and then from here to here. So it's a bit more copying. Now, if I wanted to spend the effort, I could put these coordinates into the buffer and work out a loop scenario to run through that as well. But in some cases, it's quicker and easier to do this. You need to decide that on a case-by-case basis. And given that this has already dragged on quite a bit, I'll just copy and paste. I've got my hotlines in place to mimic my poly. And it's made me realize that I want them in place regardless of whether this is cutting the cut plane or not. So I'll just drag them out of the if statement. And so they will be drawn, these hotlines, regardless of whether that frame's cut or not. Right. And to check to see whether your hotlines are drawn in the correct place, because of course you can't see them, you just hover over them and get your temporary guideline in place. And those blue lines indicate to me that yes, I have got those hotlines in the correct place. So now I will do the same for the right frame, updating the coordinates to suit, and testing. Yes, excellent. Once again, making it more usable, more friendly, easier to get the information and snap to the points that you need without cluttering up the screen. Great, that's just what I want. Perfect. And one more hotline, I want to be able to select that leaf. I can select it on the corner, but I can't select it on the edge. And I want to select it on the edge. I'll put that under my door swing subroutine. The cursor will be there. The endpoint will be at this trigonometry location. Save it, test it. Excellent. Look at that blue line. If I change this to site setup, I should get the same result. Excellent. Perfect. Oh, that's so good. Next up, wall holes. And I think after that, we'll call it a day. We'll stop there. We're getting close to the end now, only a few more episodes to go. Now, while you're watching these videos, you may see me do stuff and think, now I'd do that slightly differently, or I'd add something here, and that's fine. The whole purpose of what I'm doing is to show you methodologies and logic so that you have the tools to go and do it yourself. It's not a prescriptive follow me sort of video series. It's designed to teach you so that you can go and do it your own way. The point is showing you methods of scripting and what you need to think about. Functional, usable, fit for purpose. Next up, 2D wall holes. Now we've covered 3D wall holes, but now we're going to talk about 2D wall holes. Where, when, and how to use them. I'll see you there.